Hi guys and girls, today I want to talk to you about the power of art. Now, art is a special tool for communication. Communication is saying a message, giving a message, and art is a form of communication. We can use art to give a message. And when an artist really learns how to give their message and communicate an idea or a thought, that is called the artist's voice. And it is a powerful thing when you can use your art to communicate a message. So this week, across all of our grade levels, we are going to be practicing using our voice in art. And we'll all each have the same message, and I want the message to be hope. So how do we use art to give the message of hope? And it starts with the picture in your head. So stop for a minute and think about what brings you hope. What object, what thing, what idea brings you hope? It might be music. It might be the beach or the ocean. It might be a big grass field. It might be your puppy dog or a special toy. There are all sorts of things that bring us hope. For me, flowers. I love flowers, and flowers bring me so much hope. Just gardens in general, the idea that they start from nothing and you can't see what they are going to be when they are a seed, but as they start to grow and they form their leaves and they form their stems and then they form their flower buds, and there's all of this patient waiting until the flower blooms. And you can't see the flower when it's still inside the seed, but you know that it will come. And so I have brought some flowers for me to draw. So after you have chosen your item, then come on back to this video. Hopefully you have some picture of it or an object of it, or you have a really clear idea in your head. Somewhere you need to have a picture, whether it be a real object, a photograph, a drawing, or an idea in your head. Then I want you to stop and think about, why does that give you hope? When you look at it, when I look at my flowers, what is it that speaks of hope? And my immediate thought, and think about your art elements when you're thinking about this. What elements? The line, the color, the shape, the texture, the space, the value, the form. Maybe if you're doing the ocean, you're really thinking about the space, how the waves keep rolling one after another. If you're thinking of the sky with the sun, maybe you're thinking of the brilliance of the color and the contrast of the yellow, yellow sun against the blue, blue sky with the white, white clouds. It might be, maybe you're thinking of a tree that grows its branches and it's got all different kinds of textures on it. Think about what it is that communicates hope in terms of your art elements. Line, color, shape, texture, space, value, and form. Okay, and once you have done that, that's where you start. So for me, the bright yellow with the black center and the way that it pops out and I can just see it opening speaks of hope to me. So I'm going to be using oil pastels today. You can use any medium you want. You can use watercolors. You can just use pencil, crayons, markers, actual paint, acrylic paint or tempera paint. Any tool that you have. You could do it as a sculpture. You could use your Legos. You could use Play-Doh. You could make some salt flour dough with your grown-up. You can do this in any medium, because what's important is the message you are communicating. So you might actually stop and go, this is my message. How do I communicate it? What tool, what medium will help me best say what I am trying to say? Okay, so think about that word hope. Think about the object that you chose that talks about hope or speaks of hope. And then think about the art elements, the line, color, shape, texture, space, value, or form. And then think about the tool. How will you express it with the tool that you choose? All of those are important for your message. All of those contribute to your voice as an artist. Now, like I said, For me, that bright yellow with the black, that dark brown center is a huge message of hope. So I'm going to work on drawing that right now. I'm going to take my, I think I'm going to start with the yellow and work out. And now that I'm working on this, I'm looking at the petals that I see, and I'm going to start with my top petal and work around it. But I'm not thinking so much about the shape, because the shape is not the most important thing to me. The color is. So here's the beginning of this. I've put it off to the side because it's really close to the edge of my picture. When I look at my screen, when I look at the flower is near the edge. Okay. And now I've got my first layer of yellow, but sunflowers and flowers in general have lots of color in them. So I'm going to start adding the oranges in the center. And then I'm going to build out into that light yellow at the edges. That makes it just really pop. And here's another thing. When you are communicating the message, you get to choose what is important. When your focus is a message, it does not have to look like what you see. Okay? You are trying to say what pieces of this are most important to say hope is and hope lives, because hope is a message that we always need to hear. It's a message we always need to hear, regardless of what's going on in our lives or in our families or in our communities. Hope is something that's hard to keep. And so it's something that we always need to hear messages about hope. Because it's always something that we just can't seem to always catch. So that's why I chose that today. Which means if my main message is hope, this is where it's going. If my main message is hope, then I am looking for the pieces of my picture that communicates the most hope. Okay? So as of right now, this is all I've got. Just my sunflower right there in the center. I can work with this and start adding the petals a little bit more. Oh, that's too dark of a brown. One thing about oil pastels is they are very forgiving. So if I make a mistake, it's super easy to turn it into not a mistake when you're using pastels. And then I love, one of the things that I love about this setup right now is I love how the sleeve is pulling me in. So to me, that's like a message of I can have hope. This is saying to me, and it's pointing at me, that hope is for me. And then as I look over here, I see hope is for you, hope is for them. And I see the leaves kind of pulling me into the message of hope. I'm going to be really careful that that leaf there looks like it's pointing. Now I've got these splotches, these other yellow spots that I want to fill in. So I've got some yellow near the top. And right now I'm just doing placement. I'm just trying to get things where I want them to go. And you know, I made this leaf really big, but as I'm looking at it, that's an important piece of my message of what I'm trying to say. So it's okay that I made it bigger than what I see here. So a lot of times when I am starting and I'm using mostly color, I start by the placement. You can barely see it because I want to build my colors on top of each other, and the placement is just for me to make sure I've got things in the right spot. Then I can build those colors in and get those flowers formed. Now, I'm not going to spend the whole time drawing and you listening. I want you just to have enough information for you to make your own message of hope. So if you are at a place where you're like, I know what I want to do, I know how to communicate it, then go for it. I would love to see what you guys come up with, because the message of hope is something I need to hear, just like you need to hear, just like your friends and your family and your community needs to hear. This is one of those pictures that you could put up in a window and you could put the words hope under it and it would encourage people who walk by. It's one of those that you could do as sidewalk chalk. You can put the word hope, or you can just leave it without the word hope. It's up to you how you want to do it. But there are ways to spread your message in the world, even from the comfort of your own home. Okay, thanks for drawing with me today.